from the ESPN studios in the crap part of Her Name is Rio. We're the Men in Blazers on ESPN FC, the greatest website in all the world.
It's why Google invented the computer for FC, ESPN FC for Fight Club.
Don't even watch us, just click around and look at all the other stuff.
Yes,
we're here with our immediate post-game reaction, Rog.
We are.
To that amazing... It was a really... Sometimes there's a really good 0-0 draw, Rog. And that was a really good 0-0 draw between Brazil, the host nation, the
and
spiritual...
this man.
And Dry Herrera. And we must say, we were worried...
We're very worried
that Dry Herrera would be nowhere near as good as Wet Herrera. If you remember, it was raining very hard when Mexico played Cameroon in the round 1 group matches. Now we moved into the first round 2.
Remember that? And the rain lashed down on Wet Herrera and he shook his hair. He looked
gesticulated.
It was like watching 9.5 Weeks. Kim Basinger just shaking his hair down.
It was similar.
He's made for it.
To slightly more erotic.
We were worried that Herrera, without rain, would be about as useful as ramen noodles. Or a humidifier. Or a fish. But it turns out, Wet Herrera is amphibious. He's equally well in sea and in land, Dave.
He's the duck-billed platypus of international football, Rog. He can do both.
He's phenomenal.
He's amazing.
We will talk about him. We'll break it down. But we do need to.
He did have some amazing Blazer game. We should talk about.
Been a day of Blazers.
Miguel Herrera's Blazer game was phenomenal,
Not just his, but also Mark Wilmot's Blazer
Mark Wilmot's. He was made to put on a Blazer.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
as though he was upset about that.
It's like a golf club. Excuse me, sir. Would you mind putting the Blazer back on? We have standards to maintain here at the World Cup. We do want.
But that's because his white shirt was clashing with the Algerian shirt.
It was because he was wearing short sleeves with a jacket. It's
they had to have him make a Blazer.
It's a style folks pad, Dave. It's a folks pad. Let's just acknowledge before we go a little bit, blame it on Rio and get into the Brazil thing. We need to say that today, to Davo and me, two people who love America. And we love football. Love them both. And they used to be like, when I first moved here, they were like that. And
there was no part in the Venn diagram. There was no shaded area.
None. But now they're like that. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're like, now they always feel like that. And Dave and I, we were acknowledging
2 clips on SportsCenter last night, Rog.
2, not 1.
Well, it's a.
Whoa! Let's have a look. What have we got going on here?
Tweets.
Oh, hello, gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
That's beautiful. Do you mind if I just rub your chest wig? This is what Miguel Herrera looks like when he takes off that blazer. It's phenomenal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the tweets. Thank you.
Gorgeous, man.
Well,
there you go.
Well,
thank you. That was phenomenal.
These are surprises to us, by the way. We just hear in our ears, surprise guest coming in with tweets.
Yeah, but we've never seen him without his makeup on before, and he looks horrible.
I'll tell you, Balak not looking that good.
No,
he looks better on air. He doesn't look so good in this room.
Is very, very kind to him. Can I just say that today, for us, it feels like we imagined July the 5th, 1776 to feel.
Do you know what? Exactly. I've read about how July 5th, 1776 felt, and I think it felt just like that.
It felt like the 1776 version of Alexi Lalas just saying, it feels good to be American.
Yeah.
And Davo and I were lunching today on the roof of our hotel, and we were thinking about, we've been thinking like, we're
surrounded by Germans, English people with Portsmouth tramp stamps,
one of them had
Mexicans.
Davo is not going to get size the day tramped on.
I'm not getting the tramp stamp.
Someone had Portsmouth on his
Pompey.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He had a huge gut piling out the front, and on the back he had Portsmouth. Pompey on the back, just above his shorts.
Yeah.
And Davis just like looks out. He goes,
no, not having it there.
That off.
You notice that the Russians have turned up in our hotel, Rog.
Yeah, a lot of Russians, a lot of wonderful Mexicans. I've got to be honest, they're hilarious, and we love them. Really, really love them. But it feels like football in America. David was saying to me today that when you talk about something being American, Lalas means that in a good way.
It's a positive. It's a positive. If you say that's so American, it's positive. It's the only country in the world that can use the adjectival name of their country, and it's positive.
Yeah,
when we in England, if we say something, oh, Rog, that's so English, what do we mean?
We feel full of self-loathing.
We mean it's crap.
Despair,
we mean it's terrible.
Failure, degrading empire.
And if you say, oh, that's so French,
worse.
That's not a compliment.
It's worse.
That's so German is half compliment because it means it's efficient, it works brilliantly, and the other half is terrifying.
One for you, Michael Ballack, one of the good ones.
That's so Italian.
Yeah.
Is that positive? That's so Italian?
I I don't know. Email, tweet us. You know what? I admire the Italian people in so many different complicated ways. Can we just say, also, that Davo turned round to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this lunchtime.
Yeah.
And you had a worry. You got worried that football may be becoming too
big.
big.
Football is too big. I'm worried that today the 7.0 overnight rating, Rog, amazing, which doesn't take into account all the people watching in bars, restaurants, other people's homes, parks, fan zones, all over the country. 7.0 rating. That's pretty huge. But we're worried now.
Yeah, too big.
Too big. Football's got too big. It might have yesterday might have been the day that football jumped the shark,
What
Rog.
do bubbles do, David?
They fade away. They float away. They die.
They burst.
They burst.
Can you just read that tweet out because it's beautiful and it makes me tear up? So I can't.
From Borodori, confession. I learned to love U.S. soccer because of 2 Englishmen at Men in Blazers. I too am dazzled by the irony. That is really beautiful. We've got some more tweets.
Nothing makes me happier. Go on. Well, you know, bring this up. This is Davo's finest moment of the World Cup so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a gentleman tweeted us today, and I'm sorry, I'm going to. This
is Carolina Padron.
You said that this best part of the World Cup has been nipples, the jungle, headbutts, muscle cramps, shaving cream, Dempsey's broken nose, Rogers' U.S. citizenship, not scoring first, neon boots, rain, and of course CONCACAF. Hear me roar! But this is Davo's finest moment of the World Cup.
That's Carolina Padron. She's a very talented young host.
She's on the wall.
She's on the wall next to Angela Merkel from ESPN International. She's Venezuelan, Rod. She's a huge star down there, a huge star on social media.
Enormous.
And it was a joy to have her in here in Bob Lee's Panic Room.
American work.
I'm arranging it.
My wife wanted more women up on the wall. We got 3.
Yeah.
Super Julie
Foudy, Angela Merkel, and Carolina Padron. I think that represents a cross-section of international
when I
women.
Look just out the corner of my eye, honestly, it's very distracting. It looks like Bananarama.
Yeah, they should form a band. They'd be very good. Other tweets coming in. Rog, to Men in Blazers from Coastalist. Who's had the more impressive arm movements? Ochoa, that's the Mexican keeper, or Miguel Herrera? They both have good arm movements, Rog. I actually respect, man of the match without any doubt, Ochoa today, Guillermo Ochoa, Rog.
Jennifer Beals.
But the greatest thing about Miguel Herrera's arm movements is they're unnecessary. He doesn't need to be doing them. He's not trying to save a ball.
There's economy of energy.
Yeah.
And there's the opposite of economy of energy. Can I ask one quick thing? We'll get to these tweets.
Okay,
We've got to break the game down. One thing before we do start breaking games down, because I know you come to the boot room on ESPN FC for Fight Club. You come to it for analytical. And we'll get to this too. We're going to break the games down. With
I've got the analysis back there. Our Subutio technology.
We made this out of one of Bob Lee's suits. We cut one of his green suits together. We put a field down. There's something else we noticed today. You've done a lot of amazing noticing today.
Thanks. What else did I notice?
Just clap Davo's noticing.
I was clapping myself.
We noticed today. I said, this World Cup, Davo, last World Cup was all about horrible noises.
Yeah.
The vuvuzela.
Yeah. What other noises?
The one I was going to say involves Sepp Blatter, but we're not
great World Cup. Best World Cup ever, Sepp Blatter. Well done, FIFA.
But this World Cup has got a funny noise all of its own. If you notice, when a shot either goes in or just over the bar, they make it. We're used to the English Premier League noise when a goal goes in, which is what, Dave?
It's like, ooh!
And that's for over the bar. And if there's a goal, it's...
Yay!
Oh! It's like Vikings pillaging a neighbouring village unnecessarily.
But it's a bit of a mess.
Oh, it's a
cacophony.
And it goes on. It goes on, and it haunts you in your dreams for weeks afterwards because your team conceded it. This has a very peculiar noise.
It's an escalating roar, Rog.
Yeah.
Which brief. I compare... But it's brief.
Brief. Whoa.
I would compare it to the sound that the Visigoths made, Rog.
Yeah.
Just at the moment that they charged and clashed into the Roman line.
But it's just that second. It's like there's a sound editor. It's almost, I'm not saying there is a sound editor fabricating noises and putting it into the mix.
But we should say FIFA's sound editor is doing an absolutely fantastic job.
I've never heard this
sound
noise
editor.
before in a football match. I've heard it once before. I put my head in the my own head in the mouth of a lion. That is literally the only time I've ever heard it, David.
Yeah, it was terrific.
To the game.
Yeah, well, amazing.
Because I want to talk about Belgium too. The dark horse against the Ferenc Foxes.
So... I'm not saying there has been no parking the bus, I would say, in this World Cup. Some people, some anti-Americans, some communists, Rog, attacked America for parking the bus. They didn't park the bus last night. There was no bus anywhere.
Guy from Sirius, the
Neil Barnett from Chelsea said they didn't even take the bus out of the car park, which I think is very true. But this was a 0-0 draw, I would say, with very little defence. It was a 0-0 draw where, at points, Mexico were frantically clearing. Brazil had a lot of possession, particularly at the beginning of the game, particularly at the end of the game. But Mexico came at them as well, really hard. And it was interesting
down the flanks
that you sort of felt that Brazil were forced to play a style of football that they're not entirely comfortable making. I think that's your point, Rog.
Yeah, I mean, this Brazil team, we're used to the Brazil team of the 1970s. When I say we're used to, that's the YouTube clip that plays whenever we talk about Brazil and amazing football, flamboyant football, this 1970 team that did Cirque du Soleil little flips and flicks and feints, and they were doing capoeira over here, they were doing samba over there. It's playing a little bit of football on occasion too, very, very well. This team are built around a quick counter-attack, a very solid defence. Thiago Silva, what an amazing man.
Yeah, he's a great defender.
Amazing man, but they're built around...
Although he missed a golden opportunity in this game.
Quick counter-attack. And Mexico, I mean, the second half when Brazil really came on, I mean, Gene Hackman must have given them, 4 at half-time.
Some kind of a speech.
They came out, they really, really, really turned things around, started to pummel Mexico and Jennifer Beals in goal. And... they're not used to it. This is not a team that is designed to do what 1970 did, to break down defences with their flips, their feints, their sneaky, curious play that no other humans can do. It's a team that's built to soak up pressure and then whip quick counter-attack. And it was fascinating watching a tool that is designed for one thing and able to do the other thing, David.
Yeah, some amazing saves in the first half. The save from Ochoa from Neymar's header.
Which we both looked at each other when it happened and said...
Gordon Banks, save of the century.
Explain.
England in the quarterfinals of the 1970 World Cup. England played against Brazil. I have a photograph of a frozen moment of this save.
We all do. We have it. English people
Look
have it
up.
tattooed on the inside.
Even though we lost the game, it is widely regarded as the save of the century. Gordon Banks from Pele's header, and this save was similar and almost, I dare say it, almost as good. It was an absolutely phenomenal save. Right on the line, he pulled it right offline. Thanks, FIFA, your video technology, your replay working superbly again. That was a great save, and throughout the game, Ochoa was the last line of defence. He played very well. But that is not to say that Mexico didn't have opportunities themselves.
They had a lot of opportunity raiding those flanks. I mean, let's take a little step backwards. Have we told you how much we love this man?
Yeah.
If you're watching, and I know you do watch the show sometimes, Herrera, when I think about you, I do spend a lot of time wondering what kind of cologne you wear. And I imagine that Eau de Herrera... Wet Herrera, dry. I imagine it smells of sweat stains, frankincense, and spilt tequila, Davo.
Do you know who else he looks a bit like? He looks a bit like Buddy Garrity from Friday Night Lights. He's the Mexican Buddy Garrity from Friday Night Lights.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah,
and he really
gorgeous
is.
man.
It's an incredible... He's a man
He's got this team playing with so much passion, Rog. They're fighting so hard for the shirt.
They're CONCACAF. They are very, very, very CONCACAF. And Davo will conclude this game, Matt, by telling you what it means that they tied in terms of the United States and their power ability right now.
Well,
which is very,
this is obvious.
Well,
I'm almost embarrassed to say
it. It's our button.
Okay.
I mean, this for me was Brazil. Another test of their confidence, another test of their resolve. And you have to wonder now what is going on in that locker room. The Confederations Cup, huge amount of doubt last year about this team. They'd lost to the Mexicans in the Olympics. Their ranking was slipping, which actually didn't mean anything. The ranking was slipping because they couldn't play proper games because they'd already qualified for the World Cup as host. But there was so much doubt surrounding this team, so much uncertainty, a growing sense that, oh my Lord, we're going to be hosting the World Cup and we do not have a team that's even going to compete. The Confederations Cup changed that. Changed it very quickly. First game, they scored almost immediately. The second game at Fortaleza with the national anthem, the potency, and it became just a whole national euphoria again. The team and the fans reconnected. You are sensing here, Davo, a little bit of that uncertainty creeping in, and it definitely affects the players. I found the haircut to these players symbolically fascinating. I mean, both Neymar Dani Alves going a little blonde.
Yeah.
Going for the Khaleesi look, going for the Megan Rapinoe look, possibly coming up more with the Brett Michaels or the John Daly. I don't think it had the desired effect.
Yeah.
But Neymar, fascinating guy. When he played here in Brazil, he was a cartoon character, new haircut every week. He goes off to Europe, plays for Barcelona, and he gets serious.
Gets very serious, doesn't he?
Serious. Messi's there. These guys have grown up together. They've been playing tiki-taka football since they were kids. He wants to fit in. What does he do to fit in, David?
Sorry, I missed the first part of that.
Neymar,
I was still thinking about
stops being crazy with the blonde hair.
Yes, you're right.
Gets the standard haircut all season.
Very conservative.
It's gone very conservative. This haircut and Dani Alves, these haircuts, I think, particularly for Neymar, was a signal to tell the Brazilian people, I'm back. The Neymar, the one from thousands of commercials, Neymarketing, they call him, the crazy Neymar, the one that's just flamboyant and that you want your haircut like me and Megan Rapinoe. He's back, and then he failed to deliver, Davo. And I am wondering what is going on in that locker room now. I mean, they have to play Cameroon, not a CONCACAF team.
Well, here's the thing. I think Brazil still seem pretty certain to qualify out of this group as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I think it's looking very good for Brazil and Mexico now. But Brazil, we have to judge them. We have to hold them to a slightly different standard, Rog. They are the favourites. Well, now the US men's national team are the favourites. But they are that good that we have to hold them to a different standard. And this is what I would be worrying about if I were a Brazilian fan tonight. I'd be worrying that in that final third, there seems to be a little bit of indecision about this team. They don't play quite as well as a team in the final third, not at the pace. It kind of gets stuck with Neymar a little. It gets a little constipated, Roger. It gets a little slow. We were watching with Gilberto Silva. What he kept on saying is, oh, too slow, too slow, too slow. He's like, his hand, he was trying to direct the game.
That was in between banging his head unbelievably violently on the coffee table.
But he wanted him to move faster. And I'd say the other thing is, you can tell, you look at Thiago Silva, he shouted almost as much as Dry Miguel Herrera tonight. He was shouting at his teammates. They just did not get stuck in.
Well, for me, the problem was, that, by the way, which we learnt.
Yeah.
I love doing that with Tarico. Tarico is it? Every time they do what do they call it on television when they cut to the women?
A honey shot.
It's a mystery that is ongoing for me. That whenever the US play, the cameras cut to the crowd. They always find a large, gingy man who has just spilt an ice cream down the front of his shirt and looks a little sorry and a bit sad to be there. Yeah. Somehow, miraculously, when they shoot the Brazil game, wow, doing that. Tarico loves doing that.
Yeah.
For me, it was the triangle of Paulinho, Oscar and Gustavo. Things were not working in that triangle. They're so strong up the middle. I mean, they seed the flanks, and Mexico, I thought, took advantage of the flanks all day. But their own machine, their own engine room, did not work well today. And I think that's where they're going to have to look. I do think there's going to be a great lack of
Bernard
confidence.
had a terrible game.
Well, that's it. They don't see it right now. Scolari doesn't seem to be dealing with tactics. His solution seems to be more in just throwing on
people,
throwing
like
on different body shapes. Let's try different body shape.
And
our big bottom smalls are not working. Let's throw on a small, a tiny, a Bernard.
Blonde hair not working. Let's throw in somebody dark.
Not working.
Okay.
The only other thing I loved about 5 minutes to go, Michael Ballack gets up from his table and just shouts, "They can't handle the pressure! They can't handle the pressure!" and walks out the ring.
I wasn't sure what he was talking about at that point. I assume he was talking about Brazil.
It sounded like a line from Das Boot, if you've ever watched that amazing television series, Netflix.
Wando, is it your birthday today? Yes, indeed. Oh, happy birthday to Wando. Wando, this is our producer down here in Brazil.
It's also my 6-year-old daughter's birthday today, Zion. These two people could not be more different. If you still believe in horoscopes.
Happy birthday, Wando.
Yeah, happy birthday, Wando.
Happy birthday, Wando. Thank you for bringing this tweet.
A few more minutes and we got to get off the air, right?
Okay, done. Absolutely. Point taken. At Men in Blazers, next Father's Day, I hope my wife buys me some of my favourite cologne, which is named Wet Herrera. That's a great cologne.
Slap it on all over. Great tweet from Tim J. Masterson at Men in Blazers. Every crowd shot, he means of the Brazilian audience members. Yeah. Look what he was thinking, David.
I can't help but think these people eat tiny, tiny bananas.
Can you hold the fort for 1 second?
Yeah, you're going to go and get some.
I'm going to get some
tiny bananas. Okay, you know what? I'm going to demo, for me, the difference in the Mexican game plan, Roger. Yeah. This is what I'm going to go and do. I need to extend my cable a little bit to go and do this. Here we go. So what happened is I go down to the Sabutio Stadium down here. Here is and I'm sure you can see it, here is the entire Brazilian team lined up taking really shooting practice against Mexican goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa. And they shoot the ball, he saves it. Another one shoots the ball, he saves it. Another one shoots the ball, he saves it. Off their head, off their knee, off everything, he's up to the task. It seemed at that point that the entire Mexican team were just standing around watching the shooting practice of Brazil versus keeper Guillermo Ochoa. Oh, you've got the miniature bananas. That is a great, great idea.
Yeah, brought them in. I stole them from the breakfast table. Can we just have a quick word about the Belgian game?
Yeah. Go ahead. Is that it for Mexico?
Pretty much for me,
I thought
David.
Mexico... Look, here, think about Mexico. Is they're just
They can't handle the pressure!
No, Mexico can. Mexico are just playing with passion. They are just having... Their fans, they are like... You know, most World Cups, the Irish fans are amazing, Rog, because the Irish fans have a great time. I got to tell you, the Mexican fans with similar colours, red instead of orange, they are the Irish fans of this World Cup. They're hanging all over Brazil. They're here in Rio. They are so fantastic, the Mexican fans. Between the fans, between Miguel Herrera, and between the passion with which this team are playing football and that goal he played today, I got to tell you, Mexico could do very, very well in this tournament, Rog. Big fans of these guys.
I want to talk briefly about the Belgium-Algeria game earlier. 2-1 win.
Yeah.
Come from behind.
Yeah, very American.
Algeria scored. This is what is amazing about this game. Alexi Lala said yesterday that the American performance was...
So American.
So American. We're trying to work out what does that mean. A lot of you tweeted in. Does that mean that they just kind of...
1-2-1.
Yeah, can't pass, hold on for dear life, and managed to nick a goal right at the end. Is that very American?
No, it's just that they won with courage.
Yeah, believe me, I loved the win yesterday in every single regard, but from a cold, clinical footballing perspective. And the question is, which team was more American? Was it Algeria, who scored quickly and then held on for dear life desperately?
Yeah.
Or you could also make the case Belgium played Americanly.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about Switzerland. That was the most American performance so far in the World Cup.
So that's the question.
By the way, Wet Herrera is quite American.
It's unbelievably American. Yeah. To you think this is quite American, David?
That's the American dream.
Everything is American.
That is...
So much is
American.
So this is the question. We are confused, and we're going to get Alexi here to promote his new album, which has just come out. It's not quite as good as Ginger, which came out in 1984, but it's on iTunes.
It's not bad.
We're going to get him to play a live set here in the Panic Room. But the question is American football just something that Americans can play, or is it a quality that... I mean, I thought the Algerians, for the first half, looked bloody. They looked kind of like Eastern Seaboard.
Foxes.
They looked Eastern Seaboard. And then Belgium came back a little bit West Coasty.
Yeah, but you know, the thing about, I would say, nearly every team at this World Cup, nearly every team, because there have been some exceptions, like Portugal, nearly every team has come to this World Cup ready, and Spain, the Iberian Peninsula, everybody else has come ready to play with passion, Rog, to come to play football. And I felt that's what Algeria brought. Belgium, many people, Rod, saying, oh, Belgium, they've got so many great players who play in the top leagues in Europe, they're the favourites, they could really be the dark horses of this tournament.
We always wondered what happens when dark horses fight Ferenc foxes.
I know,
I always wondered. David Attenborough on Wild Planet has never... I watched the Nature Channel a lot, I've never seen that before. We did
very close.
Can I tell you what else Algeria brought that I loved, and a lot of you did? At Siva said, I may have SIEVERSD. At Men in Blazers, lovely national anthem, Algeria. You guys loved the Algerian national anthem. Hints of Monty Python's Flying Circus in there. It is. I think there's no peppy. Nobody has a ratio of peppy sound to dart lyrics. That ratio is unbelievable.
Oh, you promised you were going to translate these lyrics for me later.
Well, it sounds like such a happy, joyous song. My Arabic is a little rusty, I'll be honest. It's been a while since I was undercover CIA operative.
For those of you who don't know, Roger is so deeply connected to Mossad, I do believe that he has been an undercover operative for the last 25 years. And by the way, also because Rog can never, ever answer the question about what
this
he
national
did
anthem,
before I met him in 2010.
Davo.
The other night, friends of mine were asking Rog what he was doing before he met me in 2010. And he danced around the question
David, the raid on Entebbe did not organise itself. That's all I'm going to tell you. So let me tell you, the Ferenc Foxes...
I have no idea what he did.
The lyrics, why don't you read them? You've got a better reading voice than me. This is what they were singing. Just choose.
Where do you want to go? From the front. Okay. By the lightnings which destroy, Rog. By the floods of blood, pure and without spot. By the floating flags which float on the tops, mountain proud and proud, our swear words to be revolted, to us, to live or die, and we swore to die so that Algeria lives. That is Shakespearean, Rog. Testify, testify, we are soldiers for justice, revolted, and for our independence we started the combat. We did not obey null injunction by raising us. The noise of the powder was our measurement, and crackling of the machine gun our favourite song.
Repeat that lyric.
And crackling of the machine gun, our favourite song.
What's
your favourite song?
Now this one. Yeah. Now this one. It's an amazing anthem, and I adore it. And I think the lyrics are very profound and deeply, deeply meaningful. And the music is incredible. There's just a discordance between the music and the lyrics. Two very, very different things.
Yes, my favourite song is Allison by Elvis Costello. But now I'm thinking, that's a bit soft.
Well, if you're the Japanese team and your national anthem, which is called what?
The Japanese national anthem. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but it ends in the middle and it's
the
beautiful.
Lyrics of that, look at them, it's about moss slowly growing on a stone. It takes centuries. If you're about to play football and you're singing about a moss being covered, stones, it just makes you want to go and have a little nap after lunch. You sing this. I think this is the secret of the Algerian success.
And crackling of the machine gun, our favourite song, and we swore to die so that Algeria lives. Testify, testify, testify. Oh, France.
Don't read that bit.
The time of the palaver is completed.
So if you're listening, Roy Hodgson, just ahead of the Uruguay game, dispense with God Save the Queen just once. Have the boys sing this, and I promise you, 3 points.
That is a fantastic. Those lyrics are amazing, Rog.
They're very moving.
That's some of the greatest writing in the English or Algerian language.
Dave, we've got to go because we've got a massive game that all of you are no doubt tuning into.
Oh, Cameroon versus Croatia coming up.
No, Russia against
sorry, that's tomorrow.
South
Russia, South Korea.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Watch it.
Group H.
Watch it.
Group H. Oh.
Sorry, then we've got to sell it to you.
Group H, amazing game coming up on ESPN in
South Korea.
Yeah. So that's it, Rog, for us. We'll be on World Cup tonight later. We've got some really great clips from today. Yes, we do. We just prepared the whole thing. Oh, it's so good. Oh, you want to show your miniature bananas? Yeah. Look how small. This, by the way, can I just say, okay, that banana looks quite big. This banana fits. This is the size of the bananas, and these are quite big bananas.
It's a bonsai banana
compared to the other bananas.
Look, can I just show you how small they are? This is what an American looks like.
Yeah, that's Alexi Lalas. Yeah. That's miniature Alexi.
You expect a banana to be bigger than
banana look
Alexi
bigger
Lalas.
than Alexi Lalas. Anyway, they're so small. Anyway, they're very sweet, but the bananas are very, very small. Anyway,
number one.
You can contact us at Men in Blazers, at Instagram, Men in Blazers, meninblazers.com, our website. All of our stuff goes up there.
Keep the Ravens coming to us at Embassy Davis, at Rog Bennett, at Men in Blazers. But most importantly, if you're American and you appreciate America and you appreciate the country, go to www.espnfc.com. FC is in fightclub.com, right, David?
Yeah, meninblazers.com. Ravens to the crap part of her name is Rio.
Blame it on Rio.
From the hashtag
I love that movie.
Gillette
Gonna
Boot
watch
Room.
it tonight. No, I'm not. I'm going to watch Russia against South Korea. Kapow!
Group H.